I got the generator out of the shed because I wanted to work on it. What I'm trying to do is find out which fuel line goes to this on and off valve so that I can take it loose and drain what gasoline that's in the tank out of it. I can't get to it from here. You can't get to it through there, so I'm going to try to pull this end panel off and see if I can get to it through the back side. I got to get that gasoline out of there. It's not completely bad yet. I ran this for an hour on it, but I want to put fresh gas in it. Alright, well, let's get the side panel off of it and see if I can access it that way. I got this end panel off, and the fuel control valve's right here, and as you can see, you can't even get in there. Let me put the flashlight on it. Right here. You can't even get in there. It's right behind here. It's right in there. So what I'm going to do is take all the panels off of this and see if there's another way to access where the hose comes down from the fuel tank. Because that is nothing but wall-to-wall stuff in there. This is cooling fins for one of the control assemblies for the generator. So you can't even get in there. You can't get in there behind that. Alright, well, let's might as well pull the rest of them off so we can see what it looks like, right? I'm going to start removing this rear panel where the exhaust comes out and the engine cooling exhaust and all that. Maybe I can reach across, or maybe I can see where the fuel tank is connected. Okay, well, let's get with it. So far, I'm drawing a blank. This is what the exhaust side of the engine looks like. Here's the duct right here that the engine cooling air, which comes around the outside here, blows past the muffler to cool the engine. The exhaust right here from the muffler blows out to the center of that. Right here is where the air is sucked out through the generator head, through the housing, and blows out through this port right here. So, and at the same time, by this sucking air in, it cools off this electronic control module right here. Alright, well, here's the gas tank. Here's the gas tank, but I don't see any lines coming out of it. And I don't know how you get to it, so I'm going to have to do some checking here. This is a really compact unit. I mean, you don't have room to, as the saying goes, cuss a cat. I thought I had an oil leak down there, but I don't. That's from when I changed the oil last time. It dripped down on the bottom when I drained it. Because all you got is that little hole right down there, right here, to drain it out, and it gets all over, and I just didn't wipe it up good. Alright, well, I don't see any fuel lines, so I only got one more side to pull off, and I don't think that's going to do us any good. I really don't want to have to pull that top off just to get that damn gas out of there. Oh well, maybe I can try a siphon hose and just siphon out as much as I can and put good gas in it, and it'll be alright. Alright, well, I'm still drawing a blank here. I can't see anything. I was wanting to see where the hoses were so I could check them, but so far I can't get in there to see anything. Alright, well, let's try something else. I'm taking off the last end panel. If you're looking at it from the front, this is the left end panel. I got the left end panel off. That's where the generator is. No, it isn't either. Yeah. That's where the generator head is. So I got that off. In case you're wondering what these cables are, this used to have a battery in it. And let me find out where they hid that. It's on the other side. Anyway, here we go. It used to have a battery that's set right in here. And as you can tell, there's not much room in there to get in or out or anything. So what I did is I extended these cables that are attached to the battery out to the front with the jumper cable clips on it, so I can use any 12-volt battery I want to start this thing. Now, back to what I was looking for. There's no access to the fuel line. You have to pull the top off, take the fuel tank out, and then drain it and put it back in again, I think. All right. So, there's no access to the back of this on and off fuel valve. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is if you're a mechanic, but you can't really get in there, okay? It's right back here. So, I don't know how they do that unless they pull this off, undo the knob, and drop it down. So I have to look into that. But I got to drain this gas out of here. So I think what I'm going to do, I got some rubber gas line in there. And there's still not quite a half a tank of gas in this. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and siphon out what I can and then put in the new gas. Because like I said, this gas is not entirely bad. So I'll just go ahead and get out as much as I can and then put the new stuff in. Now, I've got another problem. Let's get back on the other side. While I was taking all these panels off and trying to find access to that fuel line, if you look right down in there, way down in here, you can see oil. See it right there? That means I got an oil leak somewhere. It's probably the main gasket. Here, let me put my hand underneath there. Yeah, see? My fingers are wet. I got an oil leak somewhere. Now, I don't know if it's an oil leak coming from there or perhaps it might be trickling down from here or over here. I don't know. All I can do is clean that up and run the generator some more and see if it leaks anymore. I didn't see any oil coming off the dipstick. That was a little wet right here. A little damp. So I don't know if it's coming out of here and blowing back there or if indeed it's from a gasket that's leaking down in there. But it starts right there and it goes back this way. So I'm going to clean that up, get that out of there, and then I'll run it some more before I decide to freak out and panic. I may not have this thing right here tight enough. Alright, but so far the generator looks really clean. I mean, it's like brand new, so I don't know why that'd be leaking. But it starts. It's dripping right along in line with this right here. So I don't know if it's coming out that's not even wet though. So I don't tell you the truth, I don't know where that would come from. I clean it up, run the generator, keep an eye on it and see if it leaks some more. Because I sure don't want to take this thing apart, pull out the engine and find out there's nothing wrong with that gasket. Alright, but I don't know how long that's been leaking. That looks like fresh oil, so, but then again, how often does oil dry out? Okay, well, that's what I got right now. I couldn't get access to the gas tank and the fuel lines. Let's see if I can feel it up here anywhere. Yeah, there they are, right on the other side, right here. Right up in here. There's when it goes down. That's when it goes down to the fuel switch right there. There it is, right there. Right there. That damn thing doesn't have a clamp on it. There's not even a clamp on that thing. There's the carburetor. Well, I think I got some fuel line I can stick on there and run it out and drain it. We'll see. That's the only one. Yeah, that's the only one I feel coming off of there. And that's at the bottom of the tank, so that's got to be for the fuel. Alright, well, let me see what I can do with that. Well, I struck out again. I pulled that hose and no gas came out, which means that line right there is the fuel line. That's for the gas vapors out of the tank to go down to the canister. So that wasn't the fuel line. Well, let me get on the other side and see if I can find the actual fuel line to it. I found the fuel line where it comes in. It's right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but if this camera's picking it up, it's this one right here. Right there. You got to pull that clip off right here, and that goes directly to the gas tank over there. So in order for me to drain this, I got to get some pliers up in here, pull this back, and pop that off and let the gas come out. So I guess I'll try that, because there's no other way of getting in there. I've taken all the panels off and everything. I took this off, and you can't get to it. That's just for access to the electrical stuff. Now there's just trim on here, and I don't know if you pull that off, you could get to it or not, but it looks like you got to pull the wheels off. You got to, no, that's just too much. I just have to do it like this. Just reach up there with some needle nose pliers, move that clamp back, pull the hose off, and let it run out. Alright, well, let's see how that goes. The best way to get that is right here. Pull off the hose that goes to the carburetor from the on and off switch to the fuel line. Undo that, pull that fuel line out down here, and drain the gas. That way I can control the on and off flow of it. Alright, well, that looks like the game plan. Let's see if it works. I got the fuel line going to the carburetor pulled, and I'm hoping when I turn this valve on, the gas will come out. Yep, there we go. We're draining the tank really fast. Yeah. Well, it's better than nothing, right? Okay, it'll probably take a while, so at least I get the gas out of it. Alright, well, let's let this thing fill up and get the gas out of the gas tank, and I'll put new stuff in. Next thing I got to do is clean up that oil down there so I can find out whether that was from me spilling oil when I filled it up, putting it in and did the oil change, or if this thing actually has a gasket leak down there. Alright, well, probably be an hour or so. Let's see how long it takes to fill this up. Well, at least after all that pulling the panels off and everything, I finally found out the easiest way was just pull the fuel line from the carburetor, put it in the can, turn the valve on. This way, if this thing starts getting full, I can shut it off. So that was the best route to go. Okay, well, that's what you call living and learning, right? All the fuel's out of the tank. Well, except for a few drops. So the gas gauge is accurate. It says empty. So let's put this stuff back in there, close the tank back up, reconnect the gas line to the carburetor, and then I'll move forward to clean that little bit of oil underneath the engine out so I can tell if it's leaking new or not. Alright, let me button this thing up and get it done, and then we'll see what we got. Okay, I got the fuel line connected back. Now all I got to do is clean up that little bit of oil that's underneath the crankcase down there, and so I can tell if I got a leak or not if it reappears again. I got all the gas out of the gas tank, so that's the main thing I wanted to get done. So let me clean up the oil, a little bit of oil underneath the crankcase there, and then I'll button this thing up and I'll put it back in the shed. I'll be done with it for now. I'll have to put gas in it because you don't want to leave an empty gas tank because it'll collect water. Alright, well, let me get on with it. Okay, that shows about a half a tank of gas. Right there, not quite a half a tank of gas. Now we're going to come over here. I'm going to hook up the battery, and then I'm going to see if it'll start. Okay, see if it starts. Yes, it does. Alright, starting like a kitten. Well, make sure it runs alright. Keep an eye on that fuel line. That's down on economy. Yeah, that's running alright. I just have to change the gas in it. Alright, well, we'll let it run a little bit and see how it does. Running the gas out of the carburetor. Alright, ran the gas out of the carburetor and the test for I ran it for 15 minutes. I figured that was good enough to see if it was going to leak. Alright, let me get up there and make the last check, and then I'll put the side panel on it again. Then I'm done. I'm going to stick it back in the shed after it cools off. Just checked with the fuel line connection of the carburetor. It's bone dry. I looked down there. Well, we saw oil before, and it's clear. There's no oil in there, so it's not leaking. That must have been when I changed the oil the other time that dribbled down in there. Okay, well, I've checked everything I can check out on this. It's got new gas in it. It's supposed to be good up to 2 years. Of course, I won't leave it in there that long, but what the heck. So I'm going to put this front cover on it again, and then I'm going to let it cool down and stick it back in the shed there. I'm done. Got done what I wanted to do, drain the gas.